You finally got the promotion. You lost the weight. You started the business. You left the toxic relationship. All that work, finally paying off. And the person who was supposed to celebrate with you, they got cold, distant, critical. Maybe they made a passive-aggressive comment disguised as concern. Don't you think you're working too much? You've changed. Must be nice to have that kind of luck. Or maybe they just disappeared, stopped reaching out, stopped asking how you're doing. Here's what's messing with your head. You didn't do anything to them. You didn't become arrogant or leave them behind. You just started doing better. And somehow, that made you the villain. If this is hitting close to home, you need to understand what's actually happening. Because this isn't about you. Once you see the psychology behind it, you'll stop taking it personally and start protecting your peace. Let me show you what's really happening when your success triggers someone's cruelty. Most people think jealousy is about wanting what you have. The uncomfortable truth? It's not about you. It's about what your success reveals in them. Think about it. When you were struggling together, there was an unspoken equilibrium. We're both stuck. We're in this together. The moment you rise, that agreement feels broken. Your growth shatters the comfortable story they used to explain why they're still stuck. Because if you can do it, if you, someone just like them, can change, grow, succeed, then what does that say about them? It says they could too. And they haven't. That realization? It's unbearable. So instead of feeling inspired, they feel exposed. Instead of feeling happy for you, they feel angry at themselves. And because that anger is too painful to sit with, they redirect it at you. Let me break down the 5 psychological patterns you're witnessing when someone gets meaner as you get better. Pattern number 1, the comparison wound. Here's what nobody tells you. Your growth forces them to confront their stagnation. When you were both in the same place, they could maintain the illusion that this is just how life is, that their circumstances were unchangeable, that everyone struggles like this. But you just proved that wrong. You took action. You made changes. You got results. And now they're left with a question they can't escape. If they could do it, why can't I? That question is brutal. It strips away every excuse, every rationalization, every external factor they've blamed for why their life looks the way it does. Your success isn't just your success. To them, it's a mirror. And they hate what they see in it. Pattern number 2, the identity crisis stop. Think about that. For some people, your shared struggle was part of their identity. We're the ones who have bad luck with relationships. We're the ones who can't seem to get ahead financially. We're the ones who always get overlooked. That shared identity felt safe. It created connection. It meant they weren't alone in their pain. But when you outgrow that identity, when you become the person who did find a healthy relationship, who did get financially stable, who did get recognized, you've left the tribe. And to someone whose sense of self was built on that shared struggle, your departure feels like betrayal, like abandonment, like you've decided you're too good for them now. They're not happy you evolved. They're grieving the loss of the person who stayed stuck with them. Pattern number 3, the scarcity mindset. Here's the thing that changes everything. Many people operate from a zero-sum belief about success. They genuinely believe that if you win, they lose. If you get the promotion, there's one less promotion available. If you're happy, their unhappiness becomes more visible. If you're thriving, it means there's less good fortune left for them. It's completely irrational, but it's deeply embedded. This is why your good news feels like a threat to them. Not because they're evil, but because their brain has categorized resources, success, happiness, love, opportunity, as finite. Your slice of the pie means a smaller slice for everyone else, including them. So they don't celebrate your win. They resent it, because in their worldview, you just took something that could have been theirs. Pattern number 4, The ego protection system. You've probably noticed this. The meaner they get, the more they need to diminish what you've accomplished. Anyone could do that if they had your advantages. It's not that impressive. You just got lucky. Wait until reality hits. Here's what nobody tells you. This isn't about you. This is about them protecting their ego. Because if they acknowledge that your success is real, earned, impressive, then they have to acknowledge that their lack of success means something about their choices, their effort, their mindset. That's too painful. So they rewrite the narrative. Your success becomes luck, privilege, timing, easy mode. Anything that lets them maintain the belief that they could have done it too. They just didn't have your advantages. The more they minimize your achievement, the less it threatens their self-image. Pattern number 5, the unconscious self-sabotage. And here's where it gets really dark. Some people will actively try to pull you back down, not consciously. Most people doing this would be horrified if you pointed it out. But unconsciously, they'll plant seeds of doubt, remind you of past failures, encourage you to not change too much. They'll invite you to situations that don't align with your new goals. They'll make jokes that undermine your confidence. They'll bring up your old self and romanticize who you used to be. Why? Because if they can get you to stop growing, they get their companion back. The equilibrium is restored. The mirror that reflects their stagnation disappears. And they get to stay comfortable in their own stuckness without that painful reminder that change is possible. So where does this come from? Let me dive into the psychology, because this removes so much of the hurt. This pattern is rooted in something called social comparison theory. Our brains are wired to assess our value and progress relative to others. It's an evolutionary mechanism that helped our ancestors understand their place in the tribe. But here's where it gets complicated. When someone close to us succeeds, our brain does two things simultaneously. First, if we have secure self-worth, we can experience genuine happiness for them. We see their success as evidence that good things are possible. It inspires us. But if we have fragile self-worth, built on comparison and external validation, their success activates our threat response. Our amygdala, the part of the brain that processes fear and threat, interprets their win as our loss. Cortisol floods the system. The nervous system goes into defense mode. And here's what neuroscience shows us. When we're in threat mode, the part of our brain responsible for empathy, perspective-taking, and emotional regulation goes offline. The prefrontal cortex shuts down. The primitive brain takes over. That's why you'll see smart, usually kind people become petty, critical, and cruel when you succeed. They're literally not operating from their higher brain. They're in survival mode. Your success has triggered their nervous system to believe they're in danger. There's also something called cognitive dissonance at play. When someone holds two conflicting beliefs, I'm capable and making good choices, and I'm not where I want to be in life, their brain experiences psychological discomfort. Your success intensifies that dissonance. It makes the gap between who they believe they are and where they actually are impossible to ignore. And the brain has two options: change their behavior to align with their self-image, or change their self-image to align with their behavior. Changing behavior is hard. It requires vulnerability, effort, and risk. So many people choose option 2. They rewrite the story. They decide that success isn't really that important, that you've sold out, that they're actually better off where they are because at least they have integrity or balance or authenticity. Your success becomes the problem, not their inaction. Now here's where I need you to hear me clearly. Understanding why someone is being cruel doesn't mean you have to tolerate the cruelty. You can have compassion for someone's insecurity and still refuse to shrink yourself to make them comfortable. If you're the person who's been feeling jealous, resentful, or bitter when people around you succeed, this is uncomfortable, but important. That feeling is information. It's not proof you're a bad person. It's not evidence you're fundamentally flawed. It's your psyche telling you that you're not living in alignment with your potential. And instead of using that information to fuel your own growth, you've been using it to tear others down. That's human. That's understandable. And it's costing you relationships, peace, and self-respect. And if you're the person experiencing this from others, you deserve to know. Their response to your success is not data about your worthiness. Their coldness doesn't mean you did something wrong. Their criticism doesn't mean you should slow down. Their distance doesn't mean you should dim your light to make them comfortable. You didn't betray them by growing. You didn't abandon them by refusing to stay stuck. Here's the truth. People who are genuinely secure in themselves can celebrate your wins without feeling like they're losing. People who are actively building their own lives don't have time to tear down yours. The people who get mean when you do better are people who are hurting, and hurt people hurt people. But you're not responsible for healing wounds you didn't create. You're not obligated to stay small so they can feel big. So what do you actually do when someone in your life gets meaner as you get better? Let me give you specific, actionable steps. Step 1. Stop justifying your success to them. This is the first trap. They make a snide comment, and you immediately launch into explaining how hard you worked, how much you sacrificed, all the obstacles you overcame. Stop. Every time you justify, you're reinforcing the idea that your success needs their approval, that it's up for debate, that they get a vote in whether it's legitimate. They don't. When they minimize your achievement, you can simply say, "I'm proud of what I've accomplished." That's it. No defense. No explanation. Your success is not on trial. Step 2. Notice who's pulling you down versus who's cheering you on. Pay attention, not just to what people say, but to how you feel after interactions with them. Do you feel energized or drained? Confident or doubting yourself? Excited about your future or guilty about your present? Here's what nobody tells you. The people who belong in your next chapter will be excited about the plot twist. The people who get angry about your character development were only invested in the story where you stayed stuck. Make a list. Who celebrates your wins without needing to bring up their own struggles? Who asks about your progress genuinely? Who inspires you to keep going? Those are your people. Invest there. Step 3. Set boundaries without apology. This is hard, but essential. When someone makes a passive-aggressive comment about your success, you don't owe them a gentle redirection. I'm not available for conversations that minimize my accomplishments. I'm excited about my life right now, and I need people around me who can be happy about that. It seems like my success is bringing up something uncomfortable for you. I care about you, but I can't make myself smaller to ease that discomfort. Direct, clear, boundaried. You're not being mean, you're being honest. And if honesty damages the relationship was built on your compliance, not your connection. Step 4. Separate their jealousy from your responsibility. Their jealousy is their emotion to process, not your burden to fix. You don't need to downplay your achievements, hide your happiness, apologize for doing well, stay stuck to keep them company, manage their feelings about your life. Your job is to live your life fully. Their job is to deal with their response to that. When you take responsibility for their emotions, you give away your power. You make your growth contingent on their comfort, and that's a prison disguised as kindness. Step 5. Keep going anyway. This is the most important one. Don't let their bitterness slow your progress. Because here's what will happen if you do. You'll resent them. You'll resent yourself. And you'll wake up 5 years from now still stuck, having sacrificed your dreams to preserve a relationship with someone who couldn't celebrate you. That's not loyalty. That's self-abandonment. Keep applying for the jobs. Keep building the business. Keep working on yourself. Keep sharing your wins with people who can hold them. The right people will find you at your new altitude. The wrong people will reveal themselves through their altitude sickness. Let them. Imagine this. You get great news, a breakthrough, a win you've been working toward for months, And instead of bracing for criticism, instead of downplaying it to avoid making someone uncomfortable, you share it fully. And the people around you? They erupt in genuine celebration. No caveats, no must be nice, no immediate pivot to their own struggles. Just, that's incredible. Tell me everything. How does it feel? What's next? You realize you're surrounded by people who aren't threatened by your light, who don't need you to stay small so they can feel big, who understand that your success doesn't diminish theirs. And here's what changes. You stop apologizing for doing well. You stop hiding your happiness. You stop making yourself less so others can feel like more. You give yourself permission to be proud, to want more, to keep climbing without guilt. That's what becomes possible when you stop managing other people's jealousy and start protecting your own growth. Not a life without challenges, but a life where the people in your corner are actually in your corner. Here's your challenge for this week. Think of one person in your life who's gotten colder, meaner, or more distant since you started doing better. Don't confront them. Don't try to fix it. Just notice it. Name the pattern. And decide. Am I going to shrink to keep this relationship? Or am I going to grow and see who grows with me? Then, find one person who has celebrated your success genuinely and tell them how much that's meant to you. Water the relationships that feed you. And remember this. The people who are meant for your next level will be thrilled about the elevation. The ones who aren't will reveal themselves through their resentment. Your growth is not a betrayal. Your success is not an attack. Your happiness is not a threat. And anyone who treats it like one is telling you exactly who they are. Believe them, and keep rising anyway.